Welcome back, you guys. Nice to see some of y'all back here again. Today I wanted to get talking about this new Indian Sport Chief. I've seen quite a few YouTubers talking about it, and I figured, heck, why don't I throw my hand in the jar there? Because, you know, I've got some thoughts and opinions about it as well. And I think it's kind of interesting because I think we're heading back into a time again where you're going to be able to see Indian and Harley start directly competing with each other again. And it really looks like to me that Indian is really shooting for you Dyna Bros out there. They are trying to soak up some of that money in the sport cruiser class that Harley's starting to generate. And I think this is going to be really fucking cool because for consumers, this means that we're going to start seeing a lot of these style, like the lowrider ST style bikes come out. And there's a really big market for it, and it's really starting to grow quite a bit, especially with the King of the Baggers racing and stuff like that. You know, no longer does a cruiser mean that you have a slow bike. Now, they're not necessarily fast like a sport bike fast, but these bikes are very capable of doing some good speeds and going through the twisties and just tearing it up. And a lot of these newer bikes, they're starting to get them making some good power. And like this Sport Chief, it looks killer. I mean, and it's obvious they're shooting and aiming for Harley's demographic there, because if you look at them side by side, them bikes look so similar to each other. I think your boy's stuck at a light, but there's a bus pulling up behind us, so I think we're going to be saved. But they're obviously super similar to each other, and I thought that was pretty interesting, because what that shows you is that you're going to be seeing more brands put out more similar style bikes like that. And if you're into that Dyna Bro like club style builds, these bikes are going to be really approachable for you. And a lot of the younger demographic is looking into stuff like that. So it's smart that they're actually putting their hand in that cookie jar. Jesus. Y'all see what I'm having to deal with here? There's still cars going. I'm about to just run this stuff. Alright. Now that I've gotten past that roadblock that we did have to bypass ourselves there, so as I was saying, I think it's really interesting that we're going to start getting stuff like this from these brands. Me personally, I just think that it's going to open up a whole new market of bikes that me personally, I really will enjoy. I've kind of liked a sport cruiser from the beginning. That's what I really liked about my Iron. Granted, it's not necessarily a sport cruiser, but it definitely is sporty for what it is. It's a lighter bike with an okay-ish amount of horsepower. Now, I do like this Sportster because you get all that weight savings and you're getting all the power there. But this is not, it's really not like those other bikes, like the lowrider. And those bikes are in a class of their own in all reality. And I think that right there is where they're going to start pulling a lot of younger riders in. Stuff like this bike right here with this tech and that lowrider. And it's evident because you're seeing other companies come out with stuff super similar to it. And so I think that plays a big part in it. And these bikes are going to be fast bikes. Another one I was looking at that I thought was real interesting was the Buell Super Cruiser they're putting out. Well, they say they're going to put out. It's not 100% unsure whether or not it's going to happen, but they are taking money for it. I think it's like $50 last thing I heard, to kind of reserve a spot to see whether or not there's enough people out there who really would be interested in getting one. And once all these other companies start seeing that there's quite a few people out there who are willing to get into that kind of stuff, I think that's when you're going to see even more of it explode. But it's already kind of exploded on its own right now. And I honestly, it makes me wonder, you know, like, did I make the right decision? Should I have gone around with a lowrider? Did I make the right decision going for this Sportster? But, you know, I don't know until I get out there and I kind of race this against the lowrider. I think that's what's going to decide whether or not I made the right decision or not. Because when I was going for this, I wanted a performance Harley. And the lowrider is a performance Harley. But I feel like this right here is going to have a different potential, comparatively speaking, to the other one. So, especially after we get to tune it, they start releasing parts to do the upgrades, stuff like that. Me personally, I'm ready to see these newer bikes get out, and I'm ready to see them on the road. I'm really digging the new direction they're starting to push some of these bikes. And if we keep getting them like this, they keep building them like this, keep building them faster and more comfortable, I think it's going to be interesting to see what the sport cruiser class can really do against these sport bikes. I understand they're a different level of performance, but what are we going to do whenever their goal is to make these darn cruisers perform like damn sport bikes? Because let's face it, with the direction they're going, that's happening more often than not. I mean, let's just take a look at the Sportster for a moment, right? They have completely changed up everything with their motorcycles when it comes to this bike. You got a stressed membered engine. So basically, you just got that swing arm bolted to an engine, and then you got your top half here bolted onto your engine up there, and that's a majority of your frame right there, just this little bits of stuff. And that gives you a lot of weight savings, and that's so much built like an actual sport bike. You know, like, I'm pretty sure nobody would have expected Harley to actually go that direction. So it's obvious they got ideas. I mean, if they pair their ideas of something like this with something like that, I feel like you're going to enter a whole new world of cruisers. And right now, I think that's what's really on its way to happening, is a new wave of cruisers. You're going to have a bunch of sport cruisers out there. They realized with the Dynas later on that people are not just goddamn cruising on these things, and there's a huge market out there for riders who are into the cruisers, who love the sport side of cruisers, and they don't want a sport bike, they want a cruiser. And I can kind of feel that. You know, that was part of the experiment with this bike. I needed to see whether or not I wanted something that was, I don't know, more sporty or more cruisery. And this is still cruiser, obviously, but it's definitely not like my other. You know what? I would argue that you probably don't want to tour on this bike. Now, I'm going to do some miles on this. I want to see what it's like. But you probably don't want to, you know? I can already tell you, just by the seating arrangement, that this isn't going to be necessarily comfortable for super long rides. But we'll find out. When this warm weather gets here, my first trip I plan on making is to Pops. I'm going to bring y'all guys with me when I take it down there. But it's a little bit of a drive. It's not too horribly long. I think it's about an hour drive for me. Maybe 30, no, like an hour and 30 minutes. Maybe 2 hours, depending on how I drive. And that was how I did my first test run on my iron. And I found out quickly that the seat that I had on that iron was definitely not going to work out. So I definitely had to buy a new seat. And so I'm going to do my first test run, and we'll see how this does. You know, I've also been thinking about what kind of direction I want to keep pushing this bike in. So I've been looking around a lot online at fairings. There's this one, it's got a roadward fairing. I'm just not sure if it would look good on this bike or not. Now, I got the picture of it. I think I'm going to throw it up here for you guys so that y'all can see what I'm talking about. And I kind of want to hear what you guys think about it, because this bike is... it's weird, man. It really is. It's super fucking weird. Get through that intersection. And I kind of dig it, and I'm kind of on the fence about it all at the same time. So I'd be interested to see what y'all think. But yeah, you guys, that's really all I wanted to come in. I just want to talk about these new cruisers that are coming out. This new Indian Sport Chief. I'm going to do another video over the Buell. And so this is just kind of my thoughts over the whole situation for the newer sportsers, sport styled cruisers. Sorry. Oh, 1 second here. So thanks for coming back for another one, you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about that bike that I'm going to post up here. And I look forward to making another video. Peace out.